Oh. Oh, okay. Okay. 34. All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Mount Scottney School District Board. I have a few changes to the agenda, which will shorten tonight's agenda quite a bit. So bear with me. On our agenda, we have a discussion of open meeting law and Robert's rules for small boards. And we also have a vote on Robert's rules for small boards. But instead of wasting time at a regular meeting, I thought we could have training on it during our retreat.
Makes good sense.
Yeah.
Is that on Robert's rules or on open meeting law as well?
Oh,
Okay.
Good.
that's the first change. Second change is a discussion and vote on the clerk of the district. I have not had a chance to advertise the position yet, so we're not going to be doing that this evening. We'll postpone it until our next regular meeting. We have plenty of time, and so not to worry. And let's see what we'll say. Thank you.
I did the same thing. Very smooth, very smooth.
So that takes care of both of our, yes, Bill?
I appreciate you shortening the meeting. I have something I would like the, if possible, the Mount Scottney Board to discuss with Christine during executive session.
Okay. Can you tell me what it pertains to?
Staff.
Okay. Okay, and we will also add, Jennifer Aldridge asked at some point in our last month for us to vote on her ability to take students out of state for the sixth grade class trip. We will add that to our items for action.
Do all field trips need to be approved out of state?
Yep.
Can we add something? Can we add, the Kennedy Day field trip, if that needs to be approved?
I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's, Bernie Sanders or something.
I have it, sorry. I put it on my report to be approved too.
Never mind then.
No, you're great.
Hudson also asked that we add to our agenda a discussion about hoisting the inclusion flag. I don't mind having a discussion on it, but as it was not added to the agenda, I don't think we should vote on it this evening.
Do you want to table that to next month? I'm fine with that.
Okay.
What are you adding? Voting on next one?
What's up?
What's the subject that Hudson wants to?
He wants to talk about raising an inclusion flag at the school. Okay. Bear with me. Okay. Let's see. Approval of minutes. Did everybody have a chance to look through all of the minutes?
Yes.
Does anybody have any comments from the minutes?
I have one for the 19th. Are we gonna go through one by one of you?
I was hoping to do them all together, but if, we can do one by one.
I mean, if the comments go, if we can do them all together and I can just comment on that one.
Yep.
I noted that and I believe it was on the meeting minutes on the 19th, there was a vote to rescind accepting somebody's resignation. That I noticed in the minutes, Lena wasn't able to capture who had done the second.
Uh-huh.
And I went back and reviewed the tape and I don't know if you recorded this, I think it was Rebecca because it was not somebody online. And you were the only other person who would have.
Yeah, I see what you're looking at, Davis, with the motion to rescind the acceptance of Julie Rasmus. And I'm almost sure that I did second that.
Yeah, because if it had been somebody online, it would have been noted. I did note that, and this is just kind of a general note, for kind of how we conduct our business and how we have public comment. One of the reasons that it was hard to hear is because as we were going through process, we had a community member chime in without being recognized to make a comment. I think we're pretty open to having a carry-on dialogue and being receptive to that, but I just would ask that when we're going through process like that, even if folks have something really pressing, just to wait for us to get to the key, a natural stopping point, because that did cause us to miss on the recording who had actually said something.
Yeah.
And just whenever possible, which should be 99% of the time, just make sure you're raising your hand and being recognized if you're a member of the community, and most of the time I look forward to. Thanks.
Any other comments about the minutes? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes of April 17th, April 19th as amended, April 20th, and April 21st, 2023.
So moved.
Second, Davis.
Nancy, first.
Okay. Nancy, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Bill, how do you vote?
Aye.
Davis?
Aye.
Rebecca?
Aye.
And Megan, how do you vote?
Aye.
Actually, Megan, you need to recuse yourself from those.
Okay, I looked it up on Robert's rules and it had said that even someone coming in could if they read it, but I can recuse myself if that's what you would like.
But I would prefer if you did, actually. Sorry. Okay. Next, we have public participation. Let me read my thing. Public comment is not legally required, but we believe it is crucial for us to hear from our community members about their concerns over issues. Through these meetings, our board models for our students how to conduct public discourse, and that the board and members of our community can approach controversial issues in a civil and constructive manner and can demonstrate mutual respect. Having said that, please note that the board is here to listen. The public comment period is not designed for discussion. We ask that all members direct their comments to the board and not to the audience. Each speaker will have 3 minutes. No one speaks until recognized. No shouting or profanity, no questions or comments about specific personnel. On these matters, we ask that you go through appropriate administrative channels. We will insist that all speakers and members of the audience maintain civility and respect any divergent views that others possess. Likewise, you may expect that any restrictions will be viewpoint neutral. Please do not expect the board to respond to your questions and comments tonight. We take your concerns seriously, and we want to have sufficient time to process and research issues if need requires it. We may respond at a future meeting or have an appropriate staff member get back to you at an appropriate time. And I've lost the little tab that has the meeting on it, so wait. Okay. Public participation. Is there any member of the public who would like to be heard? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Hi.
Hello, Dave Taft, most of you know me. Thanks for the hearing thing. I'm gonna go buy one of these myself. At the April 19th meeting, at the end of the meeting, I asked, when the next, board meeting would be. And at that time, the chairman said that the meeting, the 20th, had been canceled and the next meeting would be on May 8th. And I even got a sheet that said, now I know things happen and apparently that meeting on May 8th was canceled.
It was postponed to tonight.
Yeah, but when I got here, there was no notice on the door. I'm sure out in social media it was probably posted, but we don't all access that. And it would be nice that at least a notice on the door when you get here that says, due to whatever reason, that the meeting has been canceled. And so I came up and actually sat here for a while. But anyway, and then I asked with the next meeting, I didn't hear about the one on the 21st. Apparently there was the executive session when you chose, the candidate for the school board position, which I hope you have a chance to introduce tonight, and it would be nice if she was here in person, but that's all your guys' stuff. But anyway, you know, I understand that this has been pretty difficult and pretty divisive, and it's with the improper procedures that have been documented and going on here for years now. You know, I would think that the board would be trying really hard to triple check and make sure that they are doing things properly, you know. And as far as back to the appointment of a candidate, once again, I'm going to say what a disservice and how dissatisfied me and many people in this community are. If you would have done it in an open public forum, it would have been very difficult for the public to say that you chose the wrong candidate. But when you do it behind closed doors and nobody has even met or seen the candidate except for the board, it sure doesn't help the perception that it's been done deceptively. And the candidate, one of the candidates that applied, I understand the theory, you don't appoint the losing candidate. Well, that losing candidate happened to get over 45% of the votes. And when you don't even know the candidate that you've appointed, and the other candidate has gone out and done public outreach and stood there and talked to people, and you know that person's views, I'm once again very disappointed in this board, and I'm not trusting this board at all. And I'm not the only one. I'm just the only one that dares to come here and tell you. So I wish this new candidate good luck. I hope that she has an individual mind, because it's obvious that with all these 6-0 votes, when so many things are being done improperly, that somebody should be thinking that this is not right. And you might lose the vote, but you'll at least be person enough to stand up and say, I disagree. Thank you very much, and good luck, Megan Reed.
And it's my bad. I should have introduced Megan Reed in the very beginning. I'm sorry. I apologize, Megan. But let's welcome Megan Reed, our newest board member. She can't be with us in person this evening because of childcare, which is a widespread problem, as we know, in our area and state. Just for clarification, we did have a discussion, and there were, I think, about 30 people present when we introduced Megan. And we did discuss our reasons for appointing appointing her. And secondly, I did not go and check all of the places where our meetings are posted, but I don't want to assume. But were the public postings of the meeting agenda posted in all of the regular places?
Yes, but there was not a note posted on the door to say that the meeting was canceled. So that is something we should do.
That's my, so clarifying, the cancellation of the meeting was posted in all our public forums.
The process is when a meeting is changed, Lori, my admin assistant, emails the new agenda and the change of date to the administrative assistants in the buildings. And I believe the town, one of the clerks or managers, and they typically print them and post them publicly within the buildings. But there
Well,
wasn't anything.
they're not just in the buildings, they're in 3 public places. The town hall and the building or bulletin board at the schools. And I think there's one other place in West Windsor, it's at the post office.
I
We
believe
also
the
have
post
it
office.
at the store.
I believe the post office in Windsor too, at least when I've announced meetings, that's.
So when we
I do know that.
when we post a meeting, we post to the Valley News, the Vermont Standard.
We don't
No.
post to the paper, no, not for regular monthly meetings, for the annual.
Okay.
That would be expensive.
Okay.
Also on the website.
And the website, it's posted on the website.
But I take the gentleman's
Yeah.
point that posting it on the building
Can I,
would be a.
And also,
good process.
just for reference, I think it would be nice to be able to have it, have the meeting included in all of the regular calendars,
Which,
like the newsletters, not that it's not on the calendar, I said that wrong.
yeah,
The newsletters.
in the newsletters there, I thought, yeah, it's in, there's always a banner on my newsletters, but the local, you're speaking about the local newsletters. Okay.
And touching base with Pauline through email the other day about the absolutely magnificent parent letter that the Windsor schools do. And she responded to my question about keeping track of the numbers, and
Yeah.
they have a pretty impressive readership.
Yeah.
So that might be also a great place to post changes to what happens, along with other free areas like the front porch forum and stuff like that. I know it's a lot of work to get that out, and I do appreciate the cost of
Yeah.
newspapers.
Yeah, it's like $300. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
We don't have a budget for that, although we could add it to budget if you think it's important.
if you have 3 places they put it, and if you have a meeting canceled, it'd just be nice to have a note on the door in case 2 people showed up and didn't know what was going on. As far as the posting, that you do not post them at the post office. And they should be, because that's the one place with no children in town that you go to get your mail some mail or whatever. But my suggestion is, town hall, post office, and here, but when you cancel one, I mean, nobody's gonna check every day to see if it's been posted, although maybe after the last 2 have been postponed, but, it's your own fault. But when you get here and you don't know, and you're wandering around in the building and you don't know, it's kind of awkward.
Your point is very well taken. Okay, are there any other public comments? Yes, Misty.
1 second, I'll be right in. Sorry, of course, as soon as I turn on my camera, my daughter opens the door. It's just on cue. So I'm going to put my phone down here. So First,
Hold on one second. Okay, go ahead. Sorry about that.
okay, sorry. Yikes. I just wanted to kind of reiterate what Dave Taft said. I think there's a lot of people who kind of are, feeling the same way as David. And I just wanted to support him in his comment about the way the interviews were conducted in private. That's been a concern for a while. I've already voiced that to you. I did get a email back from Jenny, General Counsel at the Vermont Secretary of State's office. I just actually received that in the last couple of days. There's a lot of gray area that we're fiddling through, but there's definitely some things that could have been done differently. And I'm happy that you guys are going to be taking part in some trainings on open law. Or open meeting laws. I think that's really important going forward. But on a positive note, what I want to say is I've had some issues within the school with my own child recently, and I really want to say how much I appreciate Christine. She is really amazing, and she really makes you feel heard. And I just felt like I needed to say that just because she's really helped me work through some stuff that we're dealing with as a family, and just there's stuff I'm not going to bring up here, but I just wanted to let everybody here know that I appreciate you, Christine. I think the board made such an excellent choice putting you in this position, and I look forward to the years to come with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Misty.
Thank you, Misty. Anne Griffin, I see your hand. Would you mind telling us which
Hello.
which town do you live in?
I live in Windsor. My name's Anne.
Okay.
I have 2 girls in elementary school. And I'm not sure. I'm just bringing this up because I don't know if it can go on like a future meeting or if this is not even the place to ask about it. But I was wondering if we could maybe at some point talk about how we only have 2 school buses. It seems like possibly not enough school buses. I'm the current president of the PTO, and I know when we're talking about field trips and stuff, it's been brought up a few times. We only have 2. It explains why my kids live a mile and a half from school and ride the bus for an hour to get home. So just wondering if it's something we could bring up sometime.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Is that something that has to do, and just so you know, just to clarify, we, our busing is managed by an external company. And so is that something that we can talk with them about, or?
We're under contract, so we're under contract for a certain number of buses, so it would be an expense, but I can put it on my list to talk to Larry. He really manages that.
This is probably something to bring up in the SU board, because I believe it's managed through the SU.
Okay, so we'll bring it up at the SU board, and we'll let you know when that's gonna be.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, just one extra thing. I mean, having 2 buses, the one my children ride goes through Heartland. I mean, we live beside Fraser's, and their bus goes out County Road, past Heartland the daycare my kids used to go to in Heartland, through Heartland, and then back here. So definitely seems like we're covering a lot of ground that possibly we could use more than 1 bus for.
Thank you for letting us know.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Does anybody else have a question or comment for the board? Okay, hearing none. Are there any announcements that need to be made? Yes, Davis.
This isn't so much an announcement as a recognition, but I had a chance to check out a couple of really wonderful events here at the school in the last few weeks. I saw the last performance of The Little Mermaid, which was fantastic. I thought our students did such an amazing job. It was great to see kids from across the entire school. You know, we had the the little ones playing the seaweed, all the way up to some of our graduating seniors who spoke at the end of the performance. And also, it was really nice to see a recognition of Julie Elworth's 25 years of service, really, as our drama director, our theater teacher, and getting to hear the current seniors talk about the impact that she's made on them, and then have everybody. There's a call for past members of the theater program to stand up on the stage. I was one of them because I did some plays when I was in middle school and younger. But yeah, I thought that was really, really impactful and really touching. And then also I was able to attend the National Honor Society ceremony, which was really, really great. I had never been to one of those before. I thought it was a really lovely ceremony, a kind of step up, and it was just great to see and hear a little bit about the achievement that some of our students have, and our seniors and our juniors. Really great.
Did that include the juniors and the seniors?
Yes, it
Okay, I was away, but they are great.
I think it was some of the juniors who had been who joined the NHS last year,
Yes.
ran the ceremony too, which I thought was really fantastic. It really felt like an event that the students owned, which it's good. Great student leadership.
Excellent. Thank you, Davis. And I imagine that you'll be telling us all about the various high school or the various graduation dates coming up. Is that right?
I sure can.
All right. Okay, let's go to administrative report if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to turn it over to the principals, the lead learners. Who's going first? I know they're there.
I'm happy to go first. I never get to go first. Yes, please. I'm downstairs. I have a sick kid, so I don't want to be up there with all of you as much as I enjoy it. Oh, I deleted that slide. I don't know why it's in there. Oh, you have the wrong one. You have the wrong slideshow. I'll share my screen.
You do. It's on March intensives. What?
Yeah, this is an old presentation.
Well, that one that was
Old
shared
one,
with
good.
me.
We can have reruns here at a school board
You
meeting.
can have reruns. Okay, Kate, you're sharing.
Yeah, but I just need a sec. A tab.
Just realized that was me.
All right, can you hear me? So
Yes.
I want to reiterate, one, it's great to see Davis out and about. He's kind of a regular here now in the school, 1 to 2 days a week, and that's awesome for the kids and the staff to see. He talked a little bit about The Little Mermaid, but I wanted to say how nice it was to see a packed theater 3 nights in a row. And I think a lot of that was, one, the show, The Little Mermaid's kind of universal, attracts a lot. 2, Julie's retirement, but 3, also exactly what David said, to have the little kids in there in parts, because little kids bring out everyone in their family. So it was nice. We had a packed theater 3 nights in a row. NHS induction was last week, and we inducted 9 new members. So it's exciting to see what kind of service projects they bring to us next year. We did host Green Up Day throughout. Is it not in presentation mode? I don't know how to do that, Bill. Now you made me lose my flow.
Hit the slideshow button.
Just hit the slideshow button. Oh, there you go.
I think I got it. Now you got it? Okay.
You got it.
We did do Green Up Day. That's another nice activity that we do throughout the school, in which little kids pair up with high school kids, and they take on cleaning up either a part of the school or the part of town. And that kudos goes to student council, because they organized and ran that entire thing. All admin had to do was send out an email. So that was super nice. Thanks to our booster club, and the stars kind of aligned, and we had this beautiful day on May 8th, and they sent over the Kona ice truck for the high school students, who were able to just go outside, get a break during the day, be kids, and have some ice. It was a real big hit, and a nice little boost that we needed. Our scheduling and planning for next year is in full effect. I wanted the board to be aware of a change because we're trying to communicate it effectively to parents, but you might get a question on it. So we took our year-long classes. So we'll take biology, for instance, and we just split it up into biology 1, biology 2, and they're each now a half a credit instead of a year-long class. The expectation is that the student is still taking biology 1 and biology 2 for the year-long credit. But what we're finding is our data showing that kids are more successful in semester classes. So if we simply take the class and cut it in semester, it's a more achievable goal. And sometimes we have to change on a dime to meet a need of a specific student. And it's just a lot cleaner if we can close it out at the semester, rather than finagling to say, well, we can give a half a credit for this work. So there's really no change other than the paperwork change, but it looks like a change when it's out there. Vermont Day at the Edward M. Kennedy Institute is a Bernie Sanders hosted event. And it's kind of like a model UN is the best way to describe it, or a debate club right there on the floor. We did just get an invitation last week and we put it out to students. We have 13 interested. And we will be able to take them, it's from 11 to 2, and we can manage that with a school van. So we would be able to take 13 students with 3 chaperones to Boston for the day, because it is, so we are putting it out ahead of the board. Bill, you look like you have a question.
Oh, actually. A semester class is only half credit.
In some cases it could be a full credit, but like biology, like I use biology as an example because that's one of our year-long classes. That's that's 1 credit, but we split it into 2 with the expectation that students will take the 2 classes.
So, be interested to see how you compare it to other schools. Hartford, a semester class is 1 credit, but they are 75-minute blocks, so that may be different.
So that makes a difference. Ours are not. And I did, Misty, you're still on. I had communicated with Misty via email about taking a look into our data about, it started off over the kind of the physical incidents at Windsor and comparing it over the years. And then it kind of just turned into a deep dive into me looking at suspensions over the years. And I was going to present that at the June board meeting with some interesting things that have been discovered, and for other eyes to look at it and say what they see in the data. And I guess I will turn it over to Colleen.
I just have a question.
Sure.
Regarding students, seniors, and what they're going to be doing at the end of the year.
So we have that live document that we shared the last meeting, and we update that as we get more info. And it's kind of crunch time now. Kids are coming in every day saying what they decide to do. So I imagine at our next meeting, they would have more solid answers. But that document that I did share with you is live, so you can see updates as they go in there.
Okay.
Good evening,
Bill.
everyone. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Bill.
I'm sorry. I thought he had another question. Maybe not.
I know. All right.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. I wanted to share in the middle school some things that have been going on. We have our spring concerts this week. Elementary is tomorrow night, and middle school and high school is 6 p.m. on Wednesday night. So please join us. Come on out for our school concerts. The middle school team is consistently working on our wildly important goals. Our goal is a foundational reading across the SU in our school, and our team in the middle school is focusing on citing evidence, and they are doing that regularly with students practicing. The teachers come back and look at the data and connect to see what students are reaching it with double dosing in our 7th period and who needs more support. So we keep looking at that wildly important goal, and we have plans to meet with our leader and me coaches before the end of the month to already be thinking about next year and our next goals for next year. Our transitions are coming up for our elementary students to middle school. The fifth graders at Windsor are doing a regular step-up day with the whole elementary school with our middle school teachers. That's coming up. Annalise at Albert Bridge is doing some connections for our sixth graders coming into seventh graders and joining us for lunches here at school. Another thing that's happening is some of our middle school students are creating presentations for fifth graders that they're going to share with students in Ms. Parmelo and Mr. Lambert's fifth grade class. They're going to be sharing and talking to students about what does, as a reminder, about what does unkind language, what does bullying language, and what does harassment language mean. And it's going to come from the students. And speaking of Davis joining us at school regularly, I've invited him to join us for one of these meetings where students are getting ready to present this information. So we're looking forward to having him at our next meeting. Another event coming up, there's a lot of field day, a lot of things for the students at the end of the year in elementary school. The middle school is planning similarly to a field day, an adventure day with hiking and fishing and things like that, which is the last Friday in the school year. The other piece that the middle school just completed after the high school's performance of Little Mermaid, we had our last middle school performance with Julie Aylward, and the seventh graders presented Old Macbeth How to Farm on Friday, and it was well received by students and parents who were able to come out and see that show. The kids did a great job. Bill mentioned earlier some of our newsletter views and tracking it. I believe we send out about 525 emails to parents, about 525 emails pre-K through 12, and I would say about 330 per newsletter we see has seen it. So that's 972 for the month of April with 3 newsletters. The last thing I wanted to tell all of you that is not on this list is that with the change of the end of the school year, all of our end of the school year dates for most everything has stayed the same, except for our 8th grade step-up ceremony, which we call passages. That was going to be on the 16th, but since our snow days have been waived, that has been moved to Tuesday, the 13th. It's in the email, in the newsletter for the parents, specifically to make sure that the middle school 8th grade parents have that information. That's the only date change with the end of the year events. The 8th grade step-up night and their dance, which will be June 14th, which is also the last day of school. Thank you. I'll pass it over to Sergio.
Great. Well, thanks. And hi, everyone. Off to K5 land here. Obviously, a very, very busy end of the year, a really exciting time at school. So nice to finally have that coincide with some sunshine. We get to enjoy all this gorgeous weather after long, long rain there in April. Nonetheless, here we go. Our elementary team is just wrapping
Sergio, you seem to have frozen on us.
I think it's a gag he's doing. He's just always really still.
Okay. I'm being told I have to practice driving. Okay.
Can you hear me, folks? Oh, am I back? Sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, sorry. I'll talk fast. That was really just meant to be a shout out to the SU folks and our amazing K5 staff, really 3-5 staff who administered the VT cap, a very complicated new thing. Really, really nice job. It went pretty seamlessly. So nice job, everyone. Lots and lots of fun, exciting stuff coming up here. Hope you all out there can join us for our spring elementary concert tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. We had standing room only for the fall concert. So we're obviously expectations are high and hoping for another great night of turnout to celebrate performing arts at Windsor School. As Colleen noted, this is the time of year where students are starting to look to their next year and next class and transitions, elementary to middle and middle to high. So we're celebrating that work. Colleen already described some of that. Couple important dates coming up here. These have been just adjusted a little bit with the end of the school year change, so I wanted to put them out there for folks. Mountain Day for us, Proud Windsor tradition, is 6/7. Field Day 6/9, and our elementary step-up day 6/13. And obviously lots of busy stuff going on. This is the time of year where we're obviously wrapping up the school year, working hard on our WIG goals, making sure that our academics are pedal to the metal, but also looking at next year and some of the structural pieces that we want to see to make for an even greater following school year. Kate had talked a little bit about schedule. That's quite a thing at a pre-K-12 building. So that work has been ongoing with various committees and very much looking forward to a great product coming into the school year. So thanks, everyone.
I'm going to turn it over to Christine for her part of the part, but I did put in the chat, which was big news. I didn't even tell Colleen and Sergio yet. Like moments before this meeting started, our health candidate that we had interviewed twice came and visited the school, offered the job, signed his contract. So we have a certified health teacher back at Windsor, which is huge.
Excellent. That's huge.
That is huge. And Nancy, can you report on what day the Albert Bridge concert is?
It's,
I think it's on Thursday. right?
Wednesday, this Wednesday at 5 o'clock. And so it's hitting right into the 8th grade, the high school
Again.
concert, yeah. So I have one in each.
We did, as part of our March admin retreat, we spent a day together in March. It was actually Larry's task, he's really good at certain things. He sat with each principal and we mapped out the year of events for concerts and plays and important things to make sure that didn't happen again next year.
Oh, good.
So, yeah, because it happened a couple of times this year.
I don't even know how to get them.
Can't slip
I think
something
for both of
happen.
us, for both of us, it was a little bit tough.
Oh, yeah, so that should not happen next year.
Yeah,
We recognize that, yeah.
The Albert Bridge concert includes dinner
Nice.
for families.
Excellent. All right, you ready for me? I won't be long. I'm not sure which presentation you've got going. Kate, maybe I should share my own screen. We have two main board presentations.
I will stop presenting.
Share mine. Hold on 1 second. Let's watch yeah. I went into our shared drive where we keep them in. We're pretty good. Like at the end of each meeting, we'll make a copy of the presentation for the following month, but we did that next. So that, let me just pull up the right one. Bear with me. All right, here it comes.
While you're doing that, just to Kate and Colleen and Sergio, I am finally done with my legislative session, so I'm back here every day during the week. And I'd really love to be able to come a few times in the coming weeks to visit Windsor School. Do I need to tell you in advance, or can I just come?
You can just come, just make sure you sign at the office and let us know. David usually spends lunch visits at the building.
Okay, great. Thank you.
if you're looking to see something specific, it would be great to give us a heads up so we could be prepared for whoever you want to see.
Okay, thank you.
It's so nice to see Davis once in a while in the building. It's great to
Cool.
have
Glad,
him.
glad my schedule allows it.
Yeah, it's
A lot of fun.
wonderful. Okay, so I've attached my report from April, which I'm not going to go over the whole thing from the SU meeting. I do want to highlight a couple things from it, and that is the educational equity work that we're doing. The audit is complete, and we actually, Angie and I met with Mary again, and she's our consultant this morning to plan the rollout of the information to each local board at their annual retreat, and roll out a plan for rolling out to the staff, which required a lot of scheduling because it's not a one-time thing with our staff. So we've got a plan for that for next year, which we're excited about. And we have hired our coordinator of diversity, equity, and inclusion, which I announced. Her name is Tracy Price. She comes with a ton of experience, and she just confirmed today that she'll be able to join the administrative team at our summer retreat, which we feel is really important because we know we want to get this right, so we have to build strong relationship. That's critical. So she'll be joining us in August, which is wonderful. She'll be moving across the country in July, and she'll start as soon as she gets here, but she'll be able to make the retreat in August, which is wonderful.
She's not, she has lived in Vermont before.
She's
not
yes, she's
coming
not
blind.
brand new. She knows what she's getting herself into, which is good.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to share, this was asked, and I honestly couldn't remember who asked. I think it might have been you, Elizabeth, about the van usage this year. These are the two MASD green vans, the green van and the black van. We also have a special education van, which we use a lot, and these vans go out pretty frequently. So the green van was out and about 77 out of 129 school days, which is around 60% usage, and the black van went out 45 out of 129 school days, which is 35% usage. And you might think, wow, we can put those two together and make one, but they're often out at the same time. Yes, Davis.
Are these specifically the two vans that we budgeted for?
Yes.
Awesome, that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, even the 35% usage,
Yeah.
that's.
Terry runs the schedule. If you need a van, I drive them sometimes for driving kids around. You just email.
I've got a question.
Sure.
How is that split between Windsor and West Windsor?
I don't know. They just share them, to be honest with you. If somebody needs them, you want the split out in percentages. I don't know if Terry does it that way, but I can ask.
Well, I just wonder, I mean, I guess my concern is that both vans are here all of the time and not at Albert Bridge. And it's a smaller school and half the school could fit in one of those vans. So they not really, but I mean, part of the idea was to be able to use them to go back and forth between the schools, but also to use them, you know, so that because it is so costly to use the school bus at Albert Bridge, or it is everywhere, but.
Colleen, do you want to comment on that, since that's something in your?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on two things. One, I know, like, for example, this week, Annalise needs to use the van, and she just messaged Terry the same way any other teacher does about reserving it. And if we ever need to fill out field trip forms, like a day to reserve it, she has a form to do that. So I believe that people at Albert Bridge, including Jen, just do it the same way we all do. But I wanted to say that with Christine's numbers, there are times where there are drives home for students at the end of the day who've gotten permission for an administrator to drive them home because of a transportation issue, or a transportation issue in the morning getting to school, or a transportation issue missing a bus to Hartford. So sometimes I'm guessing that those numbers, those percentages are higher because they're kind of last minute grab and goes and not planned ahead for transportation issues.
What is the seating capacity? 6. Oh. The driver and 5 students. We've researched that length. So That's from our insurance company.
And there's a black van, actually a the long car that they take. What is that one?
The long car.
There is a,
Maybe it's that one. I mean, it looks like
there's a black car that, Mr. Lord takes students in.
It's probably the van. Yeah.
It's a van. It's the van.
So Elizabeth, what is the data that you're looking for? Albert Bridge versus, Windsor?
Yep.
Okay. I don't, I'll see what I can do. Let's see if it's, kept that way.
That may be something just for the future,
Yeah.
so know. And also, it would be good to know, what usage is for school events versus transportation purposes.
Okay. So ABS versus.
I also, I'm kind of curious about other data. Ready?
Okay, I've got my list out.
I'd also like to know how often the vans are used same day as the request.
Oh. Both at the same time, is that what you're saying, or if they're?
It doesn't matter.
Okay. How often?
How
I'm
often they're
sorry.
used the same day as the request.
Okay.
And if they're used often on the same day as the request, that makes me think that one should be parked at Albert Bridge.
Okay. I'll see if we can get that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, okay. My last thing I want to share with you are the dates of the graduations. I know Colleen shared Passages, which is the 14th at 6 p.m. Windsor, high school graduation is June 2nd at 7 p.m.
Wait, hold on, it just got changed. It's not the 14th,
She
it's the
said it was
13th.
Tuesday the 13th, it was 8th grade.
I'm sorry, she's absolutely right, and I have that written down. I'm not sure why I said the 14th. It's the 13th at 6 p.m. That was on me. I was looking at Weathersfield. Weathersfield is 6/14 at 6 p.m.
Colleen is asking you to advance the slide.
I don't have another slide in this report, Colleen, with those dates, because we have two slideshows going tonight, and that's why. So Windsor is June 2nd at 7 p.m. ABS, 6:15, 9 a.m. Windsor 8th grade, 6:13, 6 p.m. And I'll just share the other schools in the SU in case you're interested. Heartland is the 13th at 4. So the same day as Windsor, just 2 hours earlier. And Weathersfield is the 14th at 6. And I don't know if a lot of people are aware, but Jim Taft and his team do an incredible job. It's a lot of work setting up for those graduations, and they make it look seamless and wonderful. So just a shout out to Jim and his team. They're incredible at what they do, and they don't, and it's not always front and center. So I have to shout out to them.
And the board is always invited to come to the graduation, and we walk down the center before it starts, so it's.
That's the high school.
Yeah,
Yes.
high school.
So we have to walk down the side.
Yes, and then we line up to congratulate the seniors, which is very nice.
You can do it, Bill.
I know I can do it.
All right, I'm gonna stop sharing, and I think Angie has the second part of the admin report tonight. We're gonna apologize in advance. It is
It is what it
lengthy
is.
and a little dry.
It is what it is.
So we have to do it.
Yes, so I am going to share my screen here.
Can you all see that okay back there?
Okay. See that okay? What is showing? Is it showing my speaker notes or is it showing my, there's always a little bit of a,
It's showing that.
that looks like the first slide. Okay. Awesome. The first thing I wanted to show you is that tonight's presentation is, in order for us to be in compliance with the Title I funds that we receive for federal grants. And you can find, I'm going to be posting, I think I have already on the website the slides, but if I don't, I will be posting them there. But you can also find the parent and family engagement procedures. So what you do is you go to the Windsor School page and you go to information, and there is a link to the federal grants page, and that takes you to Windsor's page that describes their school-wide plan and their parent and family engagement procedures, which is why we're here tonight. So hi, I'm Angie Ledoux. I'm the Director of Curriculum for the Windsor Southeast Supervisory Union, and I'm also the Federal Grants Manager. And this year, our Consolidated Federal Grants Program, that's Titles 1, 2, and 4, has been monitored by the Agency of Education. It has been a tremendous opportunity to learn how we should be doing some things differently. One of those areas is how we engage parents and families of our students. Windsor School operates a school-wide program, which means that Title I funding can be used to uplift the entire education program. Tonight, I'm here to share with you a draft of the parent and family engagement procedures. You will recall that the Windsor Southeast Supervisory Board adopted an updated parent-family engagement policy recently, a few months ago. Unfortunately, we didn't realize that we had the wrong version of that. And there was an updated template that is required by the Agency of Education. We will be bringing you back that new template. It was part of the monitoring we had to write it. Christine and I wrote a draft, and then we will be presenting that to the board. So all schools that receive Title I funding in Windsor Southeast, that's Heartland, Windsor, and Wethersfield, must have their own parent and family engagement procedures. So that's why this isn't just part of that policy. This is a separate set of procedures just for Windsor School. Yes, Elizabeth?
So does Albert Bridge not have the same?
Albert Bridge does not receive Title I funds.
Got it, thank you.
Okay. So tonight's presentation is specific to how Windsor School will engage parents and families. And if you looked at the three schools, they're very similar, but there are some things that is about Windsor and the community that you guys do differently because you are your own school. So the purpose of Title I funds is to provide all children with a significant opportunity to receive a fair, equitable, and high-quality education, and to close educational gaps. Therefore, in accordance with the Every Student Succeeds Act, Windsor School will develop with the parents and family members of participating students a written parent and family engagement procedure. The way that we're doing this tonight is to share the draft with you during the board meeting, and then also share it on the website with a comment form where you can provide feedback. You also can provide feedback by emailing your, or talking to your building administrators. This procedure will outline how this school will involve parents and family members in procedure development and build capacity for parent and family engagement in order to improve student academic achievement. That's really what it's all about, is helping our students succeed. Per ESSA, Windsor School will hold an annual meeting at a convenient time to which all parents of participating children shall be invited and encouraged to attend, to inform parents of the school's participation in Title I, to explain the Title I requirements under ESSA, and to inform parents of their right to be involved. The Windsor School agrees to take the following actions. There will be a Title I information session, and you may recall that happened several weeks ago now, March 16th. Windsor School had a community dinner and a literacy night, and they combined that with their Title I information night. In the future, we will have one of those in the fall, at which time parents can offer their feedback, their input, and then we will be doing in the spring, more of a showcase, more of a celebration at the end of the year. Invitations and information are sent out via the school newsletters, the staff weekly updates. There was a final school email blast that went out the day of the week of the event. They tell me that the class dojo, that's in grades K through 5, that they informed parents that way. And then the K-5 students received a flyer to take home to remind parents. We know you're busy and you need multiple reminders to do those things to come. So the feedback plan from that evening is to receive anecdotal feedback at the end of the event and follow up with a brief survey. Input will be analyzed and used to plan the fall welcome back event. There will be a flexible number of meetings. So per ESSA, Windsor School agrees to offer a flexible number of meetings, such as meetings in the morning or evening, and may use Title I funds to provide transportation, childcare, or home visits as related to parent involvement. Windsor School offers 4 community meals across the school year. Community meals are for all family and community members. They include children as part of the event itself. This year they have literacy night. Next year we're talking about doing a literacy night and a math night. And I know there's many other events like your school concerts that are coming up, right? We know that parent and teacher conferences are offered at various times throughout the day and in the evening. This is to accommodate the varying schedules for our families. They are held in November and March each year. A variety of meeting times accommodate those parent and family needs. Their in-person and virtual options have been available as well. Bus transportation for evening events can be offered based on need. So we were thinking that in the fall, we would reach out to the community to see if there was a need for bus transportation, as well as childcare could be provided in that same way. So this next section talks about how Windsor School agrees to involve parents in an organized, ongoing, and timely way in the planning, review, and improvement of Title I programs. There will be planning sessions for events that are advertised and parents are invited to attend and participate. There's feedback that will be invited through school surveys, parent and teacher conference, and direct email, as well as direct conversations. Per ESSA, Windsor School agrees to involve parents in an organized, ongoing, and timely way in the planning, review, and improvement of the school, parent, and family engagement policy, I am here tonight, and in the joint development of the school-wide program plan in the following ways. Title I information nights are held twice a year as in-person events. Title I information is shared via school website, newsletters, and in the student and family handbook. Parents and families will be surveyed during and after the event. Anecdotal feedback will be noted and documented for the school team to respond to. Title I nights with community dinners are held in September and March, and then there's at least 2 more community dinners in late fall and late May. Title I nights with community dinners, oh, I'm sorry, that's a repeat. That's because we like them so much. Per ESSA, Windsor School agrees to provide parents of participating children the following: timely information about Title I programs, a description and explanation of the curriculum in use at the school, the forms of academic assessment used, and the achievement levels of the challenging state academic standards. There will be opportunities for regular meetings for parents to make suggestions and participate in decisions relating to the education of their children. And in our case, we really depend on our board meetings for that avenue, as well as other events that are held throughout the year. Responses to these suggestions are created as soon as practically possible. The school agrees to provide these in the following way: through newsletters, the website, parent and family engagement evenings. Principals and staff will note parental feedback during team meetings and share with building administrators as needed. And there will be a parent suggestion box, or such as the principal email or your teacher's email. I know that teachers also reach out to parents. Per ESSA, Windsor School agrees to take the following actions to submit any parent comments about about the school-wide program plan when the school makes the plan available to the LEA, which is Windsor Southeast Supervisory Union. if the school-wide program plan is not satisfactory to the parents of the participating children, this is what they can do. Complaints and concerns received will be responded to as needed via personal communication by the school administrator or a person assigned. Any widely enacted changes will be explained in school newsletters. School board meetings are another avenue for parent concerns to be shared and responded to. Per ESSA, Windsor School agrees to take the following actions to jointly develop with participating parents of a school parent compact outlining how parents, school staff, and students will share the responsibility for improved student academic achievement. We currently have a school family parent compact, and that is in our student handbook. What we've been neglectful of is not updating it regularly with parent feedback. So the school parent compact, called the homeschool compact in the student handbook, will be reviewed during the fall Title I information session. The homeschool compact appears in the student family handbook, disseminated to each family prior to the start of the school year, or in the first week of school via the school website link and newsletter. Information about the Title I information session will be on the school calendar for September 2024. Information will include an overview of what will be shared and discussed, including the school-wide plan and the homeschool compact. Parents and families will be invited to attend the session for live feedback, question and answer session. The session will be recorded and posted to the school website with a Google feedback form. And this information will appear in the school newsletters for at least 2 weeks. And I think some links are kept up on the website all the time. Per ESSA, Windsor School agrees to take the following actions to provide opportunities for the informed participation of parents and family members, including providing information in school reports required under Section 1111 in a format and language that parents can understand. We will offer translation services prior to the event for parents of ELL students. We will provide parents with written information in their chosen language before, during, and after the event. We rely on our school administrative assistants to really help us make sure that those parents get the information that they need in the language that is their preferred language. This next section talks about building capacity to ensure effective involvement of parents and support a partnership between the school, parents, and the community in order to improve student achievement. Windsor School will use the following strategies. We will provide assistance to parents. This is Windsor School will provide assistance to parents of children served by the school in understanding the following topics: the challenging state academic standards, the state and local academic assessments, Title I Part A requirements, how to monitor your child's progress, and how to work with educators to improve their child's achievement. The school agrees to take the following actions in order to provide this assistance. Information will be shared in the following forms: in printed and electronic form, and parents can request more information from the school principal or the school assistant principal, or, well, we don't have a school assistant principal here, from the school principals or your child's teacher is a good resource for that. Per ESSA, Windsor School agrees to provide materials and training such as literacy and technology workshops as appropriate to help parents work with their children to improve their children's achievement. The school community dinners will pair with annual open house, Title I information night, the annual literacy event or the math event, and an annual spring celebration. There's a lot of repetition in these procedures, but I think what it's showing you is how important those community events are when we bring our parents and community members into our building. Per ESSA, Windsor School agrees to educate its teachers, specialized instructional support personnel, principals, and other school leaders and other staff with the assistance of parents in the following areas: the value of contributions of parents, how to reach out to, communicate with, and work with parents as equal partners, how to implement and coordinate parent programs, how to build ties between parents and school. The school agrees to take the following actions to provide this support: schedule training sessions during school staff meetings, provide materials supporting the implementation of the ideas above, promote and support the parent-teacher organization, and encouraging parent participation, and encourage staff participation in extracurricular activities and events as appropriate. Per ESSA, Windsor School will, to the extent feasible and appropriate, coordinate and integrate Title I parent involvement programs and activities with other federal, state, and local programs, and conduct other activities that encourage and support parents in more fully participating in the education of their children. The school agrees to take the following actions to coordinate and integrate parent involvement programs. We have a robust kindergarten screening process during which parents are invited to participate and receive information about how to help support their child for readiness. The kindergarten welcome session event. Winter activities in winter school. Winter activities is an opportunity for us to reach out to local organizations to support student participation. We also would like to bring in programs like 4 Winds. There is another, we also have a very good collaborative relationship with Windsor Rec, right? So.
Do we have 4 Winds in Windsor?
We don't, but that's something that we would like to bring into the school. Parent-teacher conferences are held in November and March of each year, a variety of meeting times in order to accommodate parent and family needs. In-person and virtual options are available, and childcare could be provided as needed. Per ESSA, this item is about providing parents information in the language that they prefer, in the language that they understand. So this is just repeating how we will provide parents information either via translation services or in a written form in their chosen language. Per ESSA, Windsor School agrees to take the following actions to provide other reasonable support for parent involvement activities as parents may request. So ongoing communication with parent and teacher organization with building principal. Parent requests are welcome to the administrator and school board members. The school, in consultation with parents and family members, may include additional programs and activities designed to build capacity for parent and family involvement in Title I schools in order to improve student achievement. These discretionary activities are listed under Section 1116E in ESSA. If the Title I school elects to incorporate these activities, will be listed here with specific descriptions for implementation. So on the procedures document, there is space in there for those additional activities to be added in. So the next steps at this point in the year, is that we are sharing out the procedures document with a comment form on the website. And the information that we get back from the comment form will be used to inform the plan in September, so that we can then start a process where it's actually more involved with face-to-face, in-person interaction in the fall. And then it will be a cycle that repeats itself every fall. We review the school-wide plan, we gather input and feedback, and we also look at the procedures for parent and family engagement. And then in the spring, we reflect back on the year on what worked well as what we might want to improve for the future. So I thank you very much. And that's the end of my presentation.
Yes, Rebecca.
I was wondering, what sort of participation are you getting from parents and community as you're having these dinners and these reaching out, literacy? I'm just trying to get a sense of numbers.
What I can tell you, what I know, because I don't attend all of the events, but the literacy night they had, I think, over 60 parents. I mean, Sergio or Colleen might be able to tell us if that's wrong, but I think it was like over 60 people. It was a lot of fun. The kids were very engaged. And then what they did is they had the school-wide plan presentation running while they were eating dinner. Not necessarily ideal if you want to gather direct feedback, but in the fall, there will be more of an intentional setup. We're just trying to make sure that we create processes that are sustainable. So this was our first attempt at this, and then we did a school-wide plan presentation last year in the 2022 school year, but we didn't get it done in the fall this year, so we did it this spring.
And my second question is, because it seemed like there seemed to be a lot of events that were scheduled, that involved the community, that involved the parents? And is there some sort of you said if you go on the website, is there some sort of, like a listing of, this occurred, the literacy night, date?
Like
and
a
event?
summary?
Like, yeah, where
That's a
people
great
can literally say, go and not only hear about all these things, but get a sense of, oh, this went on. As
That's a great idea.
Otherwise, someone knew.
That'd be a
maybe
great thing for a communication person to do, right? But it also would be, I think, encouraging to bring people who can't be there, who can't participate, to know what's happening.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just kind of carry on from what Rebecca said, because I think that is a fantastic idea. And forgive me if this was mentioned and I missed it somehow. Are these events being recorded so that parents can view the content later of the live meeting, or are there
Yeah.
materials that they can look at but not like an actual recording of that?
But my goal for the Title I night is that the presentation would be recorded.
Okay.
So we're gonna have to figure out how to do that in a way that the audio is good, because that's the challenge, right? We can video it, but we gotta make sure the audio is understandable.
Yeah, and that's to capture in-room audio, so like live, is that?
Yeah.
If you want to touch base with me after, sometime outside of this meeting, I'd be happy to
Great, thank
work
you.
with you a bit on that. And also, Winds Are in Air, if they have advanced notice on this, Paul is always available to pitch in and help out.
Oh, great.
So,
Awesome.
yeah, just put that on your radar. But they
Great.
sound like fantastic events. I would just love to have them be, as available as possible.
It would be great to have a videographer during those events, and then be able to put, that's a great student activity, isn't it? Yeah. Whatever.
But it would also be great for, a non-parent to be able to
Yeah,
see some of
a
these
community
events.
member.
A community member,
Yeah.
to say, oh, okay. Or even parent, folks who don't have children in the system anymore, but kind of want to keep up on what's going on.
Yeah.
Thank you, Angie.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Angie.
I've got a question before we move on. Does anybody, because I forgot to ask during announcements, but can anybody tell me when the alumni parade is?
The third,
I'm sorry,
Saturday the third,
Saturday, June 3rd?
10 a.m., I think.
15 years.
The future work.
Yeah, hopefully.
And the bank is closed that day.
Graduation is second.
It's Carol's 40th. Early. Thank you, Colleen. Okay. Now, I would like to pause the meeting for about 2 minutes while I use the restroom.
Go for it.
Thank you.
Therapy.
So, it's awful.
Oh, yeah.
Terrible experience. I mean, I'm still feeling it today.
Than it was. Yeah, they see it really bad this year.
Yeah, well, I was just in my car.
Let's see this. Good night, everyone.
Horrible. Did you shoot me an email? I will, I'd be happy just to talk about doing like technical setup and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it'd be great. I mean, one of the principals would be the person to do that. So, but any way I can help them with that is what, really what my role is, to help. Make sure they do it and then help them with resources.
They have it all covered, just like I used to do this for weeks. It's like.
All right, well, yeah.
We're just gonna do this, don't work, we'll try to.
I thought it was there, so I'm sure.
This
Did you guys make it up for Mother's Day?
They did, it was so nice.
Everybody's
Very cool.
Yeah, it's lovely. They stayed
nice.
2 nights.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I see pictures of Alex and his dog and they're not.
Did they make all the meals? No, they made nothing. It was like Sunday morning. I got up early, so I was like, oh, I guess I'll make Mother's Day breakfast for everyone.
I got up and cooked all day,
Oh, nice.
and so, which is. But then everyone woke up and, cooked the bacon, and did all the dishes.
Nice.
Uh,
Oh, good.
when Tammy and Daniel got up, Daniel asked for fresh toast, which we glad to have all the time. So fresh toast, yeah.
You made a good effort.
Yeah.
I had to work on Mother's Day because
Stick my hand up when.
my little kids were at their moms, so they didn't come home till later, yeah.
My breakfast skills are eggs.
Do you wanna do it?
And bacon.
No, I can't.
I cook
Do you want me
it.
to speak it, or do you want me to speak it?
Sheila can
I should have
do the whole
said it
thing,
at
which
the
is
very
great.
beginning of the meeting.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay, nominations are in June, the vote's in June. Okay.
So.
Oh, it's just an announcement? Or do you need to?
It's just an announcement that we need you guys to fill the seat.
Okay, excellent, I can do that.
Next year's my 40th anniversary.
Really?
That's right.
From high school.
Ice cream.
Oh, I thought you were talking marriage.
No.
Okay, everybody, thank you for, indulging me with the time to go to the bathroom. And, next we are at items for discussion. For those of you who are tuning in a little bit later than, at the start of the meeting, we moved the discussion of open meeting law and Robert's rules for small boards to our board retreat, which, and we also are not going to talk about the candidates for school district clerk at this time because I have not had a chance to advertise for that position, although we do have at least one, if not more, people who are interested in that position and willing and capable, which is lucky for us. So I would like to quickly add.
Windsor Improvement Corporation always has a representative from your board. And since Amy has vacated the seat, we'd appreciate some time if you would come up with someone to fill Amy's seat. Windsor Improvement Corporation is the economic development arm. And we need school input and membership and feedback.
When are your meetings?
Excuse me?
When are your meetings?
Thursday mornings at 7:30.
You can't do it, Nancy.
I know, because I'm West Windsor.
Yeah,
But
it has to be a Windsor resident. so
It's,
I thought that
you know,
would be.
if someone has special expertise, they wouldn't have to be Windsor, but mostly it's all in Windsor.
Okay,
Is
so we
that,
will, oh,
sorry, Gina, is that weekly Thursday?
No, the third Thursday.
Third Thursday? Excellent, thank you.
Any other questions?
we will talk about it at our retreat.
Great,
We'll get somebody.
great. And if you would let me or Donna Sweeney know, we would make sure they got on the slate. Thank you.
Okay. Oops, let me just fix that. Okay. So, very quickly, I would like to suggest that we have our board meeting on Monday, June 12th, starting earlier and ending later. And I would like to suggest that it be at Elmer Bridge.
Oh, good.
Would this be, count as the retreat?
The retreat, yeah. That's what I'm
Okay,
thinking about.
yeah.
Monday,
The 12th.
So that's on Monday?
What time would you like to start?
Well, I think we're gonna have quite a bit to talk about, so, can you come by 5?
Me, yes.
Okay,
Mondays I'm
can
always
you make it
ready.
by 5?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Megan?
Having dinner? Or bring your own?
Yeah, we'll have dinner.
I think I can make it work with this much notice. I can block my schedule.
Okay, great. Excellent.
Do you want me to
Okay.
reach out to Craig for dinner?
Yes, would you mind?
Yeah, I don't mind.
As it is the day that
Yeah.
butcher pantry is closed.
That's right.
Okay.
And that's our usual scheduled board meeting then anyway, so.
It's a usual
Yeah.
scheduled board meeting, but this is, not gonna be with public participation, this is a board retreat. So it'll go we'll start at 5, we'll have dinner, and we'll go, I think, at least until 9.
Yeah.
So be prepared for a long time, because we'll go through the 2 trainings, the open meeting law and Robert's rules for small boards. And then we'll also go through the equity audit.
Yeah.
And then we'll also talk about goals. So that's quite a lot for,
Well, are we still talking about goals tonight too? And we're carrying that decision?
Yeah.
Okay, just check.
my thought tonight was that we would just talk, well, first of all, is Monday the 12th amenable to everybody? Yes, okay.
Just make sure I get this.
Gotta get it in my calendar.
Okay. And at 5. And in fact, my preference would be that we do not schedule it for 5 until 9, that we just start at 5 and then go until we're done.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay?
And can we add just, new hires for approval as well? So I know we'll have some.
At that meeting?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. It shouldn't take long, but we can test it.
Okay. Okay, so my thought tonight was that we could, what I would like to do is move the model school board resolution down to the end. I quickly can update you on the forums, and that update is that I have not been able to secure a second bid. We're still at the first bid. I heard from Tabitha Moore saying, I don't know if this is helpful at all, but one, if it hasn't already been done, I would ask the speaker to identify what neutral means, so you have some characteristics to work with. 2, I work closely and extensively with governmental officials, law enforcement, and really anyone who's interested in doing the work of healing. And 3, I am not a Democrat or Republican or progressive for that matter, so I'm unsure where the person got that information. She's referring to the article from the Vermont Standard. So I do agree that if we are going to be identifying somebody neutral, that we should talk about what that actually means, whether that means, what that means. So does anybody have any thoughts?
Well, I think the problem that the person was feeling who mentioned this was talking about politically neutral.
Okay.
I don't think you can ever.
And what does politically neutral mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything. Yes, no one's politically neutral.
Right.
I think someone who, I think the best you could do is to find someone who is not personally vested in any way with the situation, be it in town, in the SU, somebody neutral would be coming from a different location with a different, different community situation. I think that's the best you could do about finding someone that's neutral.
Okay. And Davis, do you have any thoughts about it?
I don't have too much to say that is unique from what Bill just said. I think about when you're finding a mediator for any kind of situation, you want it to be somebody who doesn't have any direct relationship or any investment in the situation. You tend to think of them as a mediator being an outside party. So obviously somebody from the Windsor community would not be a good choice. Somebody who has worked in the school system or even maybe been a mediator before might not be the best choice.
That a parent or grandparent or student in the district.
Yeah, we want
something like that.
Yeah, any kind of direct personal relationship, or business relationship or community relationship, that is something to be avoided. On neutrality, that's really all I have to say. I think it's kind of a standard consideration to be given when you're choosing a mediator for anything.
Rebecca, do you have any thoughts about neutrality?
I think that I would agree with some of what's been shared. But I think that it's important to have someone that that has shown their ability to serve different communities. And I think that's really important. We need to really be careful about suddenly, about selecting a particular person that seems to either lean in one direction or the other. I think what we're looking at, just like when we're looking at a teacher, that's going to teach a particular grade, we're focused on their ability to do the work, to get it done, and to do it right. And that's how I would hope that we assess whoever it is that comes in and works with our community. We expect our teachers to teach to all individuals, all of our students, and I would expect this individual to speak to our community, to all of the folks in our community. I don't think we're going to get we're all going to agree on what that looks like, but I hope that we can see that this person can do the job.
I think one thing that comes to mind listening to Rebecca is hiring someone who is a mediator, someone with that training.
Yeah.
And from that training comes that ability to serve a whole community, not just a single point.
Well, I mean, I would prefer to have not a mediator, but a facilitator. So I don't think we really need to have somebody mediate a discussion. That's not what we're after, in my mind. And if I'm wrong about that, please correct me. But my thought was that we were working towards having moving on.
Mm-hmm.
And Megan, do you have any thoughts about neutrality?
Am I echoing?
Nope.
I kind of feel the same way. When I think of mediator, I think of a hearing and an outcome, and that is not what this is really for. I think the discussion, thinking of it from a facilitator point of view, and then I think everything everyone said about the neutrality, I don't have anything really to add to that. I think that I agree that I don't think every side is probably going to be happy with who picked, but I think thinking it from who it has had the most training and is the most qualified to be a facilitator. The whole point of these people that take on these roles of facilitation is that they are able to look at different sides and to kind of see the whole picture. So I would hope that with us finding someone that is trained in that aspect, we will be filling that position correctly, but that's my thoughts.
So maybe the term would be a moderator.
Facilitator.
Well, is there
And
any facilitating training? Is there anyone who gets trained in facilitating?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
That's-
I mean, again, we're not looking for somebody who's just gonna moderate, like moderating a town meeting. We
Right.
don't need somebody to moderate a discussion, we need somebody to move us forward past all this and
Okay.
to an
My,
outcome.
my only concern is, in picking a person, is someone with some sort of fruit training.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, however we want to label it.
I mean, we've got plenty of time.
Yeah.
There's no
Right.
deadline for any of this, so.
Yeah, I think facilitator is probably the most descriptive term. I'm glad we had the discussion. I think I was thinking moderator in my head, saying mediator, but facilitator is the.
Yeah, I was doing the same thing.
Yeah. As soon as you start talking about mediators.
There are
yeah,
lots of moderators,
Right.
I mean, I
Yeah.
get Megan. Oh, Megan?
No, I'm sorry. I'm just agreeing with you. Yes, everything that you said, I did. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but you can email that too.
Yes,
So
can you say your name, please?
What's that?
Could you please identify yourself?
I'll come up and talk on your thing. I'm Dave Taft again. Could you tell the public what these meetings, facilitator, the people that have been paying attention, I mean, I heard you say, Elizabeth, you want the community to go on. What's the purpose of these meetings? The board has said their presentation for the last 2 years. There's public out there that disagree. What's the facilitating going to be? The people that disagree going to come here and tell you why they disagree, and you're going to tell them why you don't agree with them? I don't see how that's, I mean, we're gone past that. How is this meeting going to function, and how are you going to progress from that? All I can see is more angry, dissatisfied people when they leave. You've done what you've done. The history is there. We disagree with it.
Okay,
We think it's done wrong. How is the meeting going to change that?
I understand. Thank you very much for your input, but we're trying to have a discussion and
And I asked, what is your goal? I mean, how is you get so the community can go on by having a meeting where you hash it all out again?
by using a facilitator. By using a facilitator and not a moderator. That's how we're gonna do it. So we just talked about that, about how we're not going to rehash everything, how we're not going to sit and have an argument over what.
So what are you gonna do?
We're going to use a facilitator who is going to help us to have an actual dialogue that enables. Well, if you're not happy with it, then don't come.
Don't worry, I'll be there.
Okay, all right. You don't need to laugh at me while I'm talking during the meeting, okay? That's enough.
I'm chuckling.
Okay. Yes, Misty?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm, I'm a little confused too. I'm just speaking from a general standpoint from the public. I'm not trying to like come down on you. I'm not trying to say this is a horrible idea, but there are people who disagreed with the handling, and I am concerned about how this conversation will go. And I am confused on facilitation, mediation, moderation. I mean, there's a lot of words we could use, but I really do think the board needs to step back and think there's going to be people there who are going to disagree with what happened. And are we going to come out of that meeting in a better place, or are we going to come out in a, I don't know. I just don't know. Are we going to come out better as a community, or are we going to come out of that worse as a community? And I'm not saying that to say, oh, what you're doing is horrible. I'm not saying what you're doing is I'm just saying, really brainstorm around is what is the outcome? We have the meeting, people come, you have a facilitator, you have a mediator or moderator, I don't know, whatever you're going to hire, but what is the outcome of the meeting? Is it going to benefit the community or will it harm the community? And I don't know. I'm just saying, I think that's where what Dave is saying is, what is the outcome? What is the outcome you're looking for? That's it. Sorry.
Again, I think what we're looking for is a facilitated conversation where we have a better understanding of each other and we are using a skilled facilitator who's not moderating an argument between two parties. That's what a moderator does or a mediator does, but a facilitator who will help us to heal both parties or all the parties from it. That's the idea. Bill, I see your hand, and then David.
Thank you. Sort of to look at some of these questions and some of these concerns, and I have the same concerns. At the same time, throughout this entire process, this organization, school board, and those of us who went through it, never had an opportunity to really express anything about what went on, because we were in the middle of litigation. And so I think as a school board, from my perspective, we're looking for some closure, to be able to answer some questions for all the things that happen behind closed doors, give reasons and perceptions in a really calm manner, okay? And there's no way we're gonna get people who are really upset about it to change their mind. But we're looking for closure.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of people, especially students, who were cut out of the entire process.
Yeah.
Because they were students.
Yeah.
And so.
And staff.
And staff, yeah.
I mean, it's important, I think.
I mean, very few people didn't go through the reams of evidence that were put out there. Not that we're gonna do that, but yeah, closure.
Davis?
Yeah, I think carrying on from what Bill said, and I think, I wanted to kind of wait, especially since I was not a member of the board when that happened, and I think that, so some of that history I was not present for, and at the onset of litigation, I was not present. I have been aware that because of that, though, like Bill said, there was not an opportunity for there to be an intentional discourse in real time. And that's what I'm looking for. That's kind of my mental model on this, is that when something that unexpected and that impactful and that, that there is that much disagreement around and that amount of strong, passionate opinions about, ideally you would want to have that kind of, debriefing is another good word, actually. I think maybe that's something we could consider, in healthcare simulation where I work, that's what we say is that's where learning happens, right? When you debrief something, that's where learning happens. Now, we can have objectives going into that, and I think that an objective that's been brought up is, an objective might be closure, an objective might be mutual understanding, and I think that's why, one thing I brought up every time this conversation comes up is that I would like to have options for different facilitators. I'd like to be able to really think about how we're doing this. I'd like to hear, like we would do any other call for proposal or whatever, be able to see different models and be able to choose the best one as a board, because this is a really important conversation that in a perfect world this would have happened in 2020, but we all know that the way that events played out, we weren't able to. So, I want to see something that has the potential to be restorative happen. And I want people who maybe don't agree and maybe have strong opinions to be able to sit down in real time, as Bill said, calmly, I hope, but we're all in charge of our own behavior. I think the best thing that we can do is look at these models of facilitation, look at these different proposals we get, and make an informed decision as to what the best way forward is going to be. I think that, and this, don't get me wrong when I say this, but I am a great advocate of conflict. I don't think that when you avoid conflict, you get good outcomes. You have to be able to go through conflict and come out the other end. And even if you don't come to necessarily a point of agreement, you've all learned something about each other. You're going to move on in your lives with a little bit more knowledge, a little bit more understanding, especially of your community. So to me, that is the import of doing these events. It's also the import of having this conversation right now and the other conversations we've had about it in the past and the conversations we're going to continue going forward, figuring out what the facilitation model is for this. Because there's a lot of different ones. There's restorative circles, there's any number of ways of doing this. So, I'll second what Elizabeth said. It's already been a long time. I certainly don't want to delay this indefinitely because, if we're having this conversation in 2026, 2027, it's going to be far from relevant. We're not going to have a lot of the same people around probably. But at the same time, I also don't want to rush into a decision, particularly if we only really have one proposal and one candidate. I'm still not comfortable deciding that that's the person we should go for just out of scarcity. I think that we do have qualified folks on our very limited roster right now, but I'd like to see more so we can make a more informed decision. But ultimately, I do think this is important, getting everyone together. Uncomfortable conversations have to happen, and the more we take part in them, the more that we show up for them and look each other in the eye and have a dialogue. It doesn't always make it easier, but I think it makes us all better community members and neighbors and however else you want to say it. So I think this is very important, and I'm here to continue having these conversations.
Anybody else have? Yes, Rebecca.
I appreciate, Bill, what you said, because I still have lots of neighbors who also want that closure, who will ask me, and I find myself, I can't answer, but I have lots of neighbors around me who still ask me. And I direct them to the site and say, you can read the transcript and it's all there, but some of them are saying, they just want to have that. It's like, they want to have that conversation.
But whenever I explain something, I always use I feel, because there's a lot of stuff out there.
I just want to throw in one more thing. I hear the concern about, is this more harm than help? I have heard multiple people, I've heard people who view the situation that we're discussing from multiple angles express that. And to me, that just underscores how important it is that we get multiple proposals, that we're able to, even if for some reason we only have one, we get to what we decide is kind of the drop dead point and we have to choose one and we only have one or only have two. I want to be able to see what their model is, what their plan is as a facilitator before we make any kind of decisions about that, and really, really think about them. Because it is, I certainly do not want to be initiating a process that causes more strife for our community. I think that dialogue that is well facilitated can be restorative and can be constructive, but we do have to be careful. We have to be thoughtful.
Yes.
I appreciate what y'all saying, and we all need closure. My question is, people that were involved, like Bill stated, it was going on, it was a legality, he couldn't publicly say, but he believes now, I guess he can. Will there be the same opportunity for the opposition to have their representation here? To say what they want to say and think about what happened over that time frame?
But that's the purpose of a facilitator, to be able to make that happen smoothly. But if you start off with the mindset is that there's going to be an opposition, then that already sinks the process.
That already what?
If we approach this as that there is going to be opposition, and what in splitting the groups into nay and yay, then the process is already dead. Because this is not the goal of
I understand, you want closure, but there's two sides to every story. So apparently, like you do all the time, you want to tell your side and then not let the other side tell their side.
well, there is no two sides to the story, but listen.
I really think we're done with this, this part of this conversation. And so, let's see. Oops. Misty, forgive me, I think we need to keep moving with the meeting because it's already 8:23 and we haven't gotten to the actual things that we're here to discuss this evening. One of which is, Bill, do you have your hand up for a reason or?
No, not in the least.
Let's talk about, so my thought was that we could talk really broadly about board goals. And then we could talk more specifically when we have our retreat on the 12th. And then we could flip those up, since Bill is our SU board chair, we can make sure that they get floated up to the SU chair.
Yeah,
So that they become part of, as you know, I wanted to do it the other way around, so that we started at the SU and then floated down to the individual boards, but now we can start at individual boards and float them up to the SU instead. So, anyway, did anybody, give thought to, broad goals for the board that we can, for this board, not the SU board, for this board, that we can talk about more specifically at our.
Yes, and I think at any goal, the fewer the better, and even singular. One important goal for me, one goal that I think is really important for the Madison School District is staff retention. And that more broad is staff, finding staff, but keeping staff.
Okay. Thank you.
But like anything, I'd be excited to hear other ones.
For me, community engagement has, continues to be important, and how do we engage our community on an ongoing basis? As a board, at the last board meeting, I raised the idea of us serving on the community dinner schedule, because that's a population that we normally, probably would not see on a regular basis or at board meetings. But community engagement seems to be even more important now than, for so many reasons, staff shortage, numbers of students going down. So community engagement is something that seems really important to me. And how do we do that, and how can we, improve the way that we do it, and,
This time last year or the year before, the middle school was a very big topic, and I can see that it works in winter. I'm just not sure what we've decided or what's going on with our 6th grade at ABS.
Okay. And, Davis, thoughts?
Yeah, so I'll keep it high level because I know we're gonna talk about it in more detail. What I would like to have as a goal for the upcoming year is, I feel like this is maybe kind of like the vegetables here, but I really want to look at internal processes and institutional knowledge when it comes to the board as a body and governance. I think that, you know, what we see in the past couple of months is when there are unexpected shakeups, that's when you really have to fall back on that stuff. And I think that we found that there were some gaps there. So I think the appointment process is one that stands out because of recent history. I think that when we're not under a 30, which is functionally 20-something day window to make a decision, having that time and space to interrogate the process, figure out what we think best practices are, and then create some enduring materials. I think that it would be wise too to look at some other processes maybe that don't come up frequently but can arise. I know that we had a meeting recently that covered something else, some professional development for the board. But I think that would be valuable. You know, I think outreach and staff retention and middle school model and much more of the substance of what we do. But I think that in order to do that best, we need to take a step back and look at some of our process work and just make sure that we're not too reliant on the people who are here, but we have some structure that transcends that. I think that with recent history in mind, that is incredibly important. And I think that we have an opportunity to do that this year.
Thank you. Megan, have you had a chance to think about this at all?
Yeah, a little bit. I like what David said about structure. I love structure, so I think having that, thinking about that is great. And as I said, when you interviewed me, one of my big thing, staff retention and how we can really support the administration and school and our community and making sure that we're able to keep teachers and what that process can look like.
Thank you. And mine, I have knitting together community involvement with the school culture to address the social problems that we know are inside both schools. And that requires a lot of bridging between our board and the school and the community at large to do some really heavy lifting. I think we're gonna need to get input from the community about how to go about doing it. I think that would be a great way to figure out community involvement, is to engage the community, find out about how to do community involvement, but also we're going to need help on some of this stuff, I think. So anyway, okay. And in that vein, Christine, could you please bring to our retreat? Do you remember, they haven't done it since 2020, but I know you were principal when the Agency of Education sent around people to do in-person inventory. Do you remember those? They sent them to every school in the state or every district in the state. And we had one, I think our last one was in 2019. And they had a person who was embedded with each of the schools for a week or so. They interviewed staff, they interviewed students, they interviewed.
Oh gosh, what was that, Bill? The field,
the field.
integrated field reviews?
Integrated field reviews.
Okay.
If you could track down the 2019 integrated field review, I would really appreciate that.
Okay.
Also, one more thing that it's just now occurring to me. We may not I think we should address it in our next public meeting. So, but just, the CDC, I think I texted you and maybe texted you. The Vermont Department of Health has not yet released the breakdown of Vermont counties and everything, but the CDC has released the results for all of the states for the youth risky behavior survey.
Yeah.
So you can go to the CDC and look at Vermont, but I think we should really have a presentation on that.
Can we have Melanie do something like?
She doesn't do it anymore.
Oh, she doesn't.
Melanie Sheehan?
You're right, she sort of.
Maybe Alice. We usually send a report. I don't have it yet. I went
It's
to the
not out yet.
website, yeah.
I mean, that would be from VDH, and they haven't come out with it yet.
Right.
And we got, I know that what you had kicked my way was really just the state level
Yeah.
data. And I know
Yeah.
that it cuts down to county level, right? Because that's the lowest that it goes.
Yeah.
And I think I know the answer to this, but do we have a timeline as to when that'll be available?
No, I mean, it was supposed to be in November, so.
Yep.
And they don't, it doesn't say anything about it on the Vermont Department of Health website, unfortunately, so.
So Melanie doesn't do this anymore?
I don't believe so, no.
She has a new role at Scotty. She morphed into Jill Ward's position. And there's no- But Alice Stewart, is doing part of Melanie's old position, so I can reach out to Alice and say.
I think that would be helpful, because when I last heard it, I think it was a presentation. I think Melanie was involved in it.
Okay.
But we also had all of the data, so we don't have the breakdowns at the moment. But we can definitely get, I think, we're a small state, and we don't have, there isn't that much differentiation between outside of our booming metropolis of.
Right.
In Hartford and Woodstock, Windsor County,
Myself, yeah.
data is all gonna be pretty much the same.
Exactly. But what I would like to see is that, I believe, so if you're gonna ask Alice, could you ask Alice also if, they have any updated, they did I keep calling it, in my mind it's bi-coastal, but they did a survey of students on both sides of the river.
Oh.
I think they're wise. And so if we could have that data set to compare, I think that would be also useful.
Is that
Yes, David.
regionally limited to the Upper Valley?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that'd be
New
good.
Hampshire, Vermont.
Yep. I've had a conversation with Alice about that.
Okay.
So.
Yep, that would be another.
Yeah, I think that would be useful for us.
Okay.
Especially if the Windsor County data is not specifically out yet.
Yeah.
But we can certainly, they didn't tailor it to mirror the YRBS. It's a little bit broader,
Okay.
which I think would be useful.
Okay.
So,
Do you, so the retreat's in June, that's the 12th. Does this board, the other boards take July off, and the administrators kind of get a break from meetings for July. Is that the wish of this board? They come back in August, but it's up to you. I need to let them know.
So we can, you mean we won't meet in August?
In July.
In July?
I'm almost inclined to say that we should meet in July, but without the administrators being completely optional. But
Okay.
whatever we decide at our retreat, we should tell everybody what we decided before August, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be amenable if it's something that we're permitted to do, to just have kind of a truncated meeting with just board members, not touch on administrative issues, just have that touch point, report out from that meeting. I have no problem with that at all.
Yeah.
And I think we're set for the 10th as kind of a standby date in July. So.
Yep.
Maybe we all just want to look at a guide and not be on that date, so.
Would you want, so when would you want Alice to present? I guess that's kind of what I'm getting at as well. Summer's just hard for people because they
Let's make that the August meeting.
August, okay,
Because,
that makes sense to me.
that will get us in the mindset for the start of the school year
Okay.
and like what students are actually dealing with and doing.
Well, if we're gonna look at, let me throw out an idea. If we're gonna look at, raw data, the SU retreat is in August. Maybe we can do it then, and because it's all the same data for every school district.
Yeah, I agree. But I also think it should be presented during a public meeting and not just at.
That was your point.
That was my point.
Yeah.
And also, if we do it in August, then it'll kind of set us up for a couple of things. It'll set us up for the start of the school year. But then as we start the school year, we'll have that in our background as we get closer to budget season. And we can,
Yeah, and it's
be thinking about
mostly
it.
high school data.
Yeah.
Which is Windsor.
So the question that there may not be an answer to, I'll throw it out there anyway. Do we anticipate that we will have an SU meeting in July? Or does that typically get canceled?
We may not have an SU meeting in July.
Yeah, on the board state, typically the board state July off,
Okay.
but
Okay.
do what.
We never have. I don't know, we've always meant July.
Heartland takes July and August.
Yeah, well, if we do end up having, my thought was if we did end up having a July SU meeting, which obviously we are not level SU, so we can't really make that decision or maybe opine on it. I just want to check the temperature on that because I think that it could be valuable to, yeah, I guess, I was gonna say if the retreat happened to be before the Mount meeting, it could be good to get a briefing on an SU level on that YRBS data in some sort of organized form, and then when we're presenting it in a public meeting, have a little bit more time to chew it over, because it's, what we have right now, the CDC is raw data.
Yeah.
Which you can chop it up using some drop downs and stuff, but like it's not really made to be palatable quite yet. So that was my only thought, is if the SU retreat happens to fall before whatever Scotty School Board meeting we talked about, that could be a good idea, but
On
if
the
the
other
retreat's
hand,
in August, then it would be the other way around, that would make sense.
I disagree with you, and here's why.
Okay.
While we don't have Windsor County specific data, we do have data that compares Vermont with the US of A.
Sure.
And we do have, we could look at, rural, we're compared to Maine, Wyoming, and West Virginia. And, there are different facets we could look at for different pockets of the country that would be useful.
Oh, yeah.
Even if we don't have the Vermont specific.
And just to clarify, I'm not saying we need to wait for the county level specific. What I'm saying is that maybe getting a presentation with somebody who's a little bit more versed maybe in that subject matter area, but also in data analytics, who can translate a little bit for us. Because that's, whether we're looking at state level, multi-state level, county level, I'm not a data analyst. Like I can dig around and get some takeaways from it, but all I'm saying is that if we had a retreat before where we could maybe get briefed by somebody maybe from Mount who had that subject matter knowledge, who was a subject matter expert. And then by the time we got to a public meeting, we were a bit more informed about it and could speak a little bit more intelligently to it. That was where I was going with that. That may not be possible.
Yeah, I like the idea that you're raising, and that is, how do we, can we maybe inform ourselves a little bit more and, dig in a little bit deeper. I don't know if that's offered. Bill, does Hartford, because I would imagine that we can probably take advantage. I can take advantage if I find out that the hospital is offering some sort of, overview. I can take advantage if I find out that Hartford is doing, we don't always get that sort of information, but I'm sure that other schools are probably doing and offering some of this information.
And if this is maybe getting ahead of our open meeting law discussion, but if we're going to a professional development or like informational type event, even if we have a quorum and we are not discussing business, that's something that we could do. So you're completely right. If there was an opportunity for us to maybe, another school district was doing it, or if there was just some sort of general event that MASD put on where we could all come together on a date that was not a board meeting to get briefed on this, I like a pre-brief. If we could get one, that would be great. Again, it may not be possible, but I would love an opportunity.
Yeah.
A brief.
A brief, and you don't like the idea of at the SU board retreat, having that brief, and then presenting in public in early September at MASD? Is that too late in the timeline?
I think, I'd like to learn about it before the school year begins.
Okay.
But wouldn't the August meeting do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe that would work. If we SU retreat, we got our briefing on it, and then at the September MASD meeting, we were able to speak to it a little more.
Because your budgeting won't really start until October.
Yeah, but don't we want specifically in our district, I mean, it doesn't matter for the other districts in our supervisory union, but specifically in our district, since we have a high school, don't we want our parents to know what
kids are struggling
what
with?
kids are struggling with?
I don't think anyone here is arguing against that. We're kind of looking at what might be the best option to proceed in
Actually,
getting that goal.
here's an idea. What if instead of having it at our September meeting, that we had a public presentation and question and answer forum just about that in August?
I will reach out to MASD and see if they can do that.
Yep.
And they may be waiting for,
The
they
parents
may be
could,
waiting for the county data, which is gonna be a report that's a little more user-friendly, in my experience, right? I looked at the website today and it's not in any format to really,
Pretty raw.
yeah, it's pretty raw.
Yeah, for us,
But to Elizabeth's point though, we might get more community involvement if we had a single topic meeting.
if we had a single topic meeting like that, because I do think that parents would want to know about it before the start of the school year. And then we can talk with them, especially if we have goals coming out of our retreat that apply to some of the problems that are happening. We could brainstorm with our parents and community about, we could talk with them about here we are, and then we could brainstorm with them about how to approach it.
Okay, so I'll reach out, I'll report back, I'll just email.
Okay, and also, this is a very minuscule point that I just want to put on your radar.
Sure.
Well, first a question, and that is, has MTSS been implemented all the way down to pre-K?
I believe so, I'll double check.
We were a pilot for that, I believe.
I don't know.
Windsor
Was a
was.
pilot for MTSS all the way down to pre-K?
Yeah, but what I would like to know,
Is Katie still here?
no, she left.
Okay.
So as the state does roll out the childcare supports, and early childhood education supports, I would like, and so I'm asking you this far, far, far in advance.
Okay, good.
Like probably 2 years in advance.
Okay.
But if you could figure out a way to track the data from how that affects our student population over time.
Early supports in
early supports and how that affects the MTSS uptake and how that affects our special ed numbers and spending as it goes, as the students go through the system. So I'm not asking you to collect anything about that right now.
Yeah.
I'm just asking you to set up a way to collect that.
Okay.
That would be a good idea.
Yeah.
And also, we should have a basis for comparison for it too.
Current data.
What's that?
Current data.
Yeah.
Okay.
Data guys, what do you think about that?
I think it's a great idea, and sort of the pull in of what's actually happening, because it's law.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
I'm sorry, in my professional, I am tired of dealing with schools that don't follow the law, and that's just in my professional world, not in my school world. It's one of my pet peeves.
Agreed.
It sounds like we got some good board goals.
Yeah.
A good deep list.
Yeah.
Okay, now we are at our model school board resolution. Did any of you work on the model school board resolution?
I read it again.
Okay. Nancy, did you have a chance to look at the model school board
Yes,
resolution?
I did. But it was a while ago.
Okay, Megan, did you have a chance to look at the model school
It's
board
on.
resolution?
We can get it.
Yeah, I did look at it.
Are you ready for discussion about it? Or do you want to talk about that at another time as well?
I think it's almost midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I propose waiting another.
It was very repetitive, so.
Well, yeah, it's a model resolution.
Right, so.
We're supposed to have a whole bunch of it, like half of it cut out.
Yeah, would it make sense if we, I don't know how to discuss it right now because it's so repetitive.
Well, that's why we were gonna discuss it and cut out, make cuts to it. Okay.
I've gone over it a couple of times and I feel that it really supports our teachers and it supports our students, you know, and, yeah, and some of it is repetitive, but, I am at a place where I feel that putting in that additional support for our students and teachers can only be good. I think that that's really important at a time when, potentially, you know, schools are under attack in terms of what they can do, how they can do it, when they can do it. And you know, I'm sure that that probably makes very many teachers very uncomfortable about, oh my word, where is this going? And, you know, where do I just teach to the, you know, teach to the test and do nothing else? I think we're in that place. And I think that putting in supports that are going to protect our teachers in terms of saying to them, you spent all of your time and energy and money on getting here and doing what you're passionate and it's really important to you. I'm all for supporting them at this point in however we can. And also, I just know that once we allow our teachers to feel that we've got their back, that it really does provide for a much more relaxed environment where they can do what they're here to do. So I you know, we can take things out, but I feel that we should strongly consider putting this resolution in place that's going to protect
Oh,
and
yeah.
support our teachers and our students.
Well, that's the idea.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And to tell teachers that they're the ones who decide their curriculum and that we support that. But do we want to take the time now to do it, or do we want to wait until our, we could add it onto the retreat?
I was thinking
Then we could come back in July and,
Yeah, whatever.
okay.
Okay.
I'll be done with my cash stuff by then.
Okay.
You know, you don't know what that's like.
What I'm gonna do is, I'm going to go ahead and, take out pieces of it that do not apply to our district, and I'll resend it out to everybody. How does that sound?
That
That
would
would
yeah.
actually,
That would
Just-
be-
It's such a large
Okay.
group to be working on.
And we're
That's
still
fine.
looking at, we haven't done any of that yet. I mean, what we're looking at is the template that's kind of.
yeah, and they're like, you know, it's a template, so it's supposed to be pick this or this,
Yeah.
cut this out, you know, it's supposed to be that way. So
Okay, good.
I'll do some of that and send it back around. Okay. That being said, I think we have the next agenda set for our retreat on the 12th at Albert Bridge School, starting at 5 and going until we're done.
Email Craig for dinner.
Could you also ask Larry to make sure that, oh no, we don't need microphones or anything like that at Albert Bridge.
Are we able to have a regular school board meeting at Albert Bridge? Do they have this kind of setup?
That's the question. Can you please ask Larry if, it would be nice if we could
I'm
go
pretty
back
sure
and forth.
I'm pretty sure he purchased the owl. It's really just setting up the meeting. So Lori needs to assign the owl to the location.
Right.
So,
And what about microphones?
these, we would have to get them over there.
And do these go with
I'm assuming,
those mains?
I'm assuming. So I'll put on my Larry list. No, this doesn't apply to the retreat.
No, it does
No,
not.
but, future meetings, anyway, yes, future board meetings. Okay. Microphones and the owl.
That would be great. Thank you.
And I think those units that Dave's wearing. That are working for you tonight,
Yeah, there's a lot of background noise, like when I talk, you know, but I can hear.
all right.
Do those
I
have to
don't
go
know
back
about
to
the microphones, because nobody's using them, but I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, that being said, I will take a motion to enter.
There was something about a field trip out of state.
Oh, yeah. Yes, you're right. Thank you.
Something about what?
There are
Field trip
two of
out of
them.
state.
Oh, one of them is,
Just
I'll take a motion to allow the Albert Bridge School sixth grade class to be taken on an overnight out of state.
Where are they going?
They're going to Boston.
So moved. Yes.
Okay. Second,
Bill second.
Bill.
There was something that Hudson mentioned about a field trip.
Yeah, hang on.
Okay, got that one? All right. Don't want it to miss out.
What was his?
Just a minute, hold on. I'll get there.
Oh, I see.
Like Johnny Cash said.
Rebecca, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Davis, how do you vote?
Aye.
Bill, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Nancy, how do you vote? I am an aye. And Megan, how do you vote?
Aye.
All right. And, okay. Now, that was a 6-0 vote. So, now we are voting on the, where is it? Yeah, it's the
Edward
Edward Kennedy.
It's Edward Kennedy Day or something. That's also in Boston, correct?
Yes. And that was 14 students to Boston.
Oh, were we voting on that or the flag?
We're gonna wait on the flag.
Okay.
Okay, I'll take a motion to allow the transport and participation of 14 Windsor High School students to Edward Kennedy Day, Boston.
Allow.
Second. Did you do something?
Yeah.
Very quietly.
Okay.
It's almost midnight.
I know. Rebecca, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Davis? Bill, how do you vote?
Aye.
Nancy, how do you
Aye.
vote? And Megan, how do you vote?
Aye.
I am. Now I will take a motion to enter executive session under 1 VSA 313 about a personnel matter.
So moved, Davis.
Second.
Okay, let me stop recording.
Wait a minute, we have to vote on it.
Oh, yes, right, sorry.
Are we still recording?
Yeah, still.
Okay. Rebecca, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Davis, how do you vote?
Aye.
Bill, how do you vote?
Aye.
Nancy, how do you vote? And Megan, how do you vote?
Aye.
Okay, I am an aye. So we have now entered executive session. If you wouldn't mind taking us offline or off, turn